From the studios of the Republic Media Network, you're watching Arnab Goswami live on The Debate.
Arnab Goswami on The Debate at 10, powered by Cred, Nissan Magnite and Amrita University.
Well, ever since last Friday, there has been a civil war-like situation brewing in South Africa. The imprisonment of ex-president Jacob Zuma has spiraled into huge violence across the country's 9 or 10 provinces. And the main targets are Indians, with no less than the External Affairs Minister now intervening. This is why the Republic Media Network still believes India is not doing enough. There are 30 million strong Indian diaspora in South Africa, and we need to speak up for them much, much, much more. Here's what's happening on the ground, and then tonight we debate.
Ever since South Africa's former president Jacob Zuma began serving a 15-month sentence for contempt of court last week, violence has erupted in the country. What started as protests in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal have escalated into a spree of theft in township areas, arson and killings across the nation. At least 117 have been killed so far. The scale of violence in South Africa, some say, has not been seen since the end of apartheid in the country in the early 1990s. In what many suspect is an emerging quasi-civil war, Indians and Indian origin South Africans have become prime targets following allegations of Gupta brothers' affiliation with Jacob Zuma. Watch these visuals of arson captured by a person of Indian origin showing how the market building in Isipingo, Durban was set ablaze, an entire market up in flames. Hear these voices of anguish of those South Africa-based Indians who have been left to their own devices. The situation is alarming and the South African troops on ground are not enough to quell the violence. The Indian community in South Africa is looking to India for muscular diplomacy. Diplomacy is on in full scale. Over 25,000 troops are on ground. And now the only question is, will the 30 million Indian diaspora get any reprieve? Let's debate.
From Patna, BJP spokesperson Guru Prakash Paswan. From Johannesburg, Akash Maharaj, lawyer and entrepreneur. From Durban, from the KwaZulu-Natal area, Shameen Thakur Rajbanshi. She's a member of parliament and she's a senior leader of the Minority Front Party of South Africa. Vuyo Maga, spokesperson of the Gauteng province in South Africa, is joining us from Gauteng in Durban. Dr. Ralph Mathika, political analyst, is joining us from Johannesburg in South Africa. Live from Nairobi in Kenya is Agre Mutambo. He's senior diplomatic affairs writer for Nation Africa and the East Africa, and thank you. And Mervyn Abraham is the program coordinator of the Peter Maritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group, live from Durban, the KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. Thank you very much, everyone. And first, I'd like to say to my friends and brothers and sisters in South Africa that we are concerned here in India about what is going on. We're not here to blame anyone. But we are concerned about our fellow brothers and sisters of Indian origin and Indian descent and what they are facing, and our hearts go out to them, but I think we need to do more. So I'd like to begin tonight by asking Shameen Thakur Rajbanshi, please tell us and tell all the Indians watching the program tonight what is happening to the Indian community in South Africa.
Namaste, Arnab ji. I'm really
Namaste.
grateful that you are putting this program together. And Indians in South Africa really love Republic TV for bringing the truthful news to the world. But the situation of Indians in South Africa is really dire currently. They are being attacked, and it's very well coordinated, orchestrated attacks targeted at our communities who are vulnerable. We don't have arms. We are peaceful, freedom-loving people. We've lived harmoniously for decades alongside our African brothers and sisters and all other communities. But what is happening to us right now has put so much of fear into the community. It's a reminder of the 1949 anti-Indian race riots in Durban. And this is what is happening. And people really need intervention. People are, now looking at foreign countries for help. But India is, of course, leading the way and trying to intervene. However, a lot is being done by our government as well, and we can speak about that later. And our government is trying to intervene to calm things down.
While you were speaking, I could see both Vuyo Maga and Dr. Ralph Mathiga. They're either smirking or they appear to be in denial. And I want to know what you're in denial about. Vuyo Maga, let me start with you. Indians are the prime targets of the violence. Indians are the prime targets of the violence. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's, when you started to show your program and listening now to our colleague, I was actually quite shocked. Which country are you talking about? What has happened in South Africa is that there's been a target of businesses, of looting. Now, in Durban, obviously there are Indian people who've got businesses. But Johannesburg, I went attending malls. There's been looting of malls. Black people are crying that they've been looted. We've been trying to calm the situation. Actually, looking at your program now, and before you even said, I was shocked. Which country are you talking about that there are Indians that are targeted? No, there are no Indians that are targeted in South Africa. There are businesses that are being looted, black, white, Indians. I'm actually speaking to you now. The reason why I'm wearing what I'm wearing now, I'm coming to clean one of the malls in Gauteng, which is predominantly owned by black people. And all those companies are black people. Now, in Durban, the reality of the matter is that majority of people who are running business in part of South Africa happen to be Indian people. So it's not about an attack on Indian people. It's about an attack on businesses, not only in KZN, also in Gauteng, which is the heartland of the economy.
Vuyo, can I say one thing to you? I want you to listen to the other side. And what you're saying tonight is that Indians are not being targeted, businesses are being targeted, and if it happens to be that the businesses are owned by Indians, it is wrong, according to you, for anyone to look upon it as targeting of the Indian community. That's what you're trying to say, right?
No.
That's what you're trying to say.
You're not hearing me. No,
that's what you just said.
I'm saying to you.
But that's what you said.
No, listen to me. No, but listen. I'm saying to you, the reason why I'm wearing this overall, I'm from cleaning a mall that was looted. That mall is owned by black people in a place called Tembisa. You've got white malls that were looted. Malls in South Africa have been attacked. Not only in KZN, where Durban is, in Gauteng it has been attacked. And majority of people that happen to be there. Sorry?
That may be your perception, viewer. But one second, I want you to listen to Akash.
I mean, South Africa.
I also want you to listen to others. I want you to listen to the other side. One second. Just listen to the other side. Listen to the other side. You won't lose anything by listening. I'm just telling you, we will only increase understanding by listening. And I want you to listen to Akash. Akash has spent his life in South Africa. Over 2 decades. He's a lawyer and entrepreneur. His family is in Durban, and he has a story to tell. And I think it's necessary for you to listen to him. Akash, why don't you tell both Vuyo and the other panelists what the Indian community is going through and why you believe they are genuinely being targeted?
So I have family in Durban, yes, and the other panelists may smile and smirk as much as they like. The fact of the matter is that yes, businesses are being targeted, but at the same time, the element of criminality is spilling over into Indian communities, and the Indian communities have had to rally around, and they had to protect themselves. They have to protect themselves.
I lost the audio there. I'm so sorry. I think I just lost the audio there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me again, Akash? I lost your audio in between. You can hear me, but I can't hear you as well. Shameen.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes. You're back. You're back. I just want you on the straight point. And let's have a very focused debate. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know what Dr. Matika is laughing about. There are rape threats which are being issued to women of Indian origin. Is that a laughing matter? 15 people have been killed in Phoenix, which is predominantly an Indian community. No. Is that a laughing matter? You wouldn't be laughing about it if you knew some of the victims there. Yes.
Is that what is being said borders on comical material? Why am I saying that? Because there is no such thing. This is a complete fabrication that is being said on television. And I take the Indian audience so seriously that I don't think anyone should come on your television and say things that are being said here that the Indian community is being targeted. I'm going to give you the facts as to what I'm talking about here. Outside India, Durban is the home of the largest Indian community. They have played an incredible role, continue to play an incredible role. They've played a role during the struggle against apartheid. Even in cabinet, you do have members of the Indian community. So for someone to come on your television, if they take you seriously, they come on your television, they then say Indians are being attacked in South Africa, trivializing what is happening in South Africa. There are serious challenges that are underway in South Africa in Durban, involving the looting of the malls, involving social unrest that has created problems. We have got in the range of about 100 people that have lost their lives.
Just 1 minute.
And for someone to come on television and say,
okay, so Dr. Matika, but Dr. Matika, I think but Dr. Matika, 1 minute. You are so convinced. You are so convinced about this. You are so convinced about this. 1 minute, Dr. Matika. If you're so convinced about this, and you're so sure that no Indian is being targeted, it's incidental, then tell me why are homes of Indians being burned down? Why? Is that also incidental? Why are Indians being shot at while they're patrolling their own community areas? Is that also incidental? No, you don't tell me. Tell Akash that. Because Akash will respond to you. Yes, please. Tell Akash. Akash is also in South Africa.
Community here. It is a complete fabrication that is being said. There has been malls that are being looted in South Africa. There's been the destruction of property in South Africa. There has never been any systematic targeting of the Indian community.
I can't hear Akash.
It's a complete lie. There is no other way of putting it. A complete
Akash,
lie,
I can't hear Akash. Come
on. And I think we have to acknowledge that. I mean, you cannot say that. It's a complete lie.
No, what you're saying is a complete lie. You want to, weave this lie to the media internationally when Indians are being targeted. You guys are getting into Indian. We don't run businesses we don't live in industrial areas.
Who's you guys?
Looters and people are getting into our residential areas. Why are you getting into residential areas then? What businesses are you targeting there? And why is it that you want to target the economy of this country when all of us are going to suffer? Even your own people are going to suffer. How are people losing their lives?
I don't have my people. That's the first thing. I have got no people.
I don't have my people.
I'm a South African. I have got no people. You say you guys, you say all these people. I don't know who you're referring to because this thing cuts across the racial and ethnic lines. Everybody has been affected by this. Of course, it started in Durban. It started in Durban where you find the largest Indian community. It is indefensible for any property or anyone to
it is also unacceptable, Dr. Matika. Dr. Matrika, 1 minute. It is unacceptable. There is a complete absence of understanding from your side. The complete, refusal to accept even the cries of a victimized community. The refusal from your side of that of Vuyo Maga, 1 minute, Vuyo Maga, your complete refusal even when the anguished cries of the Indian community are going out there and saying, hear us.
Can I speak?
Today to get baby food into Indian communities, you have to send trucks there with security guards to enter. The police is not supporting, the army is not helping, the Indian community in many areas right there under your nose is having to defend itself. You can speak. But please don't blindfold yourself. No, you can speak, but don't put blindfolds on. Don't put blindfolds on. Don't put a blindfold on yourself. Yes, Shameen Thakur will debate with you. Don't tell me the fact. Tell Shameen Thakur.
Let me give you the fact.
Yes.
122 South Africans, ever since this thing have started, have died. None of them, I can tell you now, is of Indian descent. Majority of those people are black people. People who have died. Alive. People
majority,
who have died alive.
Yes, majority are black people.
10 of them died in Soweto on a campaign. 6 of them.
4 Indian people have died in South Africa. 1 Malana, 1 pastor, 2 children,
4 out of 122.
caught in the crossfire in major Indian suburbs have died.
So 4 out of
Still,
122.
one life is
So
one
4
life
out of
too many.
122.
One
And then you
life
then
is one life too many.
Is it the real show?
So, Dr. Vuyo Maga, what's your argument? No, Dr. Vuyo Maga, what is your argument? Your argument tonight is that, therefore, by inference,
what I'm saying to you,
and our Minister of Safety and Security come first to the Indian area. Today, our Honorable President came to the Indian areas. Our Honorable Minister of Safety and Security came yesterday to the Phoenix police station. Why did they come to the Indian areas if there's no violence in the Indian areas? Tell me that.
But they were there in Joburg. He was there yesterday in Joburg in Alex, where 100% of people who say they are black people, and majority of those people were killed. So are there Indians in Alex? The Minister of Police was in Alex in Johannesburg. What was the reason why was he there?
They have went to the areas that were affected, so we must be truthful. They went to areas that were affected, and they did come. No, but they came to KwaZulu.
No, I can even ask you, Dr. Maga, please understand. Please understand. I request you tonight. I wish to, Dr. Maga, we have a right to ask, first of all, Dr. Maga, let me tell you one thing. Dr. Maga, I want to tell you one thing. I want to tell you something, and you must hear me. You must not get angry. You must listen. You're getting angry. You're not listening to me.
That you are creating in this country, and it's not acceptable. You can't create a racial tension in this country. It's not acceptable.
Well, let me tell you. It's better that you should not be in denial. You should not be in denial. There are 50,000 businesses which have been destroyed in Durban, and mostly were run by the Indian community. They are fighting for survival. Many of them are facing financial ruin. How is the situation going to be de-escalated? And also, let me ask you one more thing. No, you're not being able to handle my questions. Professor Guru Prakash Paswan is also here. Let me tell you that 30 million estimated Indian diaspora that includes people of Indian origin and non-resident Indians, standing right there behind them, whether you want to accept it or not. Are 1,300 million Indians. You need to understand. It's not the government of India alone, it's all the people of India who are asking these questions tonight. Why did the government allow what were field protests to go out of hand and turn into this devastating chaos? This scale of violence, are you telling me it's the first time that Indians are being targeted in South Africa? Have Indians not been targeted before?
I'm actually
Have Indians not been targeted before? No, 1 second. You can answer my question instead of making those comments.
Show that is driving
you can say what you want. 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 You need to hear the other side. The problem is I'm showing you the mirror. I'm telling you that we are concerned. We are concerned. Well, you know, when people are being targeted and threatened, and when homes are being burnt, and when people are being attacked and assaulted, and businesses are coming to ruins, and at that point of time, you want to tell me it may be Mickey Mouse for you. Well, I don't know why you're taking such a strong position. Sure, it's South African homes, and there are people of Indian origin. People of Indian origin and people of Indian descent are being targeted. Are you saying we have no right? Well, you can say what you want, but let me remind you, there was a time when in South Africa we were also told. Well, they were also told at one point of time. Well, let me tell you, at one point of time, people were also told, don't question apartheid in South Africa. It's our business. And the world said at that point of time, no, it's our concern. You don't need to get worked up. You don't need to get worked up. No. You've not been able to answer my questions. Listen, Vuyo. You can say, you're repeating. No, you may or may not listen. You may have to listen to the facts. You're not listening to even people on the ground. You are not willing to listen to anyone on the ground who disagrees with you. Shameen is on the debate. You're not willing to listen to her. Shameen is on the ground as well. Is she not a South African? You're saying she has no right to speak? You think Akash has no right to speak? You want Akash to tell you what families are going through? You may not agree. How does it matter whether you agree or don't agree? You're being defensive. You're being defensive. If they are your families, then stand up for them. Well, if they are your families, then stand up for them. Well, if they are your family, stand up for them. No, well, they are our family too. They are our family too.
South Africa is
Akash.
by Indians.
Can't we start from the facts?
And here we have absolutely disappointing. And here we have somebody who is standing up and actually trying to defend the looting and burning of businesses.
Two on the screen, please.
Economic lifeblood of the country.
Although the Honorable President
I refuse that.
Is this going to be a debate or an argument?
Why do we have to defend ourselves? Why is it we in a position where we defend ourselves?
Because if it is an argument, then I'm really not interested in being part of this.
South Africans are defending themselves across black and white and Indian.
I would request you. Just. There are reports.
To become about Indians because of Indian TV. Now you then want to drive a wedge among South Africans. We are here in this country.
That is your perception. That is your perception. Vuyo, listen. You must respond rationally. You must respond rationally and not emotionally. Don't have to comment on my show. What I'm saying is that today there are reports that there are no, where there are areas, Indian dominated areas, Indian majority areas, where there are no soldiers visible. I've been talking to people. Mervyn, you're on the debate. I'll just tell you what I've heard. I've been talking to a lot of people from the Indian community who are saying that we don't have the support from the security forces. We don't have the support from the police. We don't have the support of the army. Yes, please, Mervyn, go on.
Yes, please, if I can. I mean, I'm really not interested in being part of an argument. So if we can have a debate, then everybody needs to get a chance because that's a debate. This is degenerating into an argument. I live in Durban. I live in a suburb of Durban. Like everywhere else in Durban, communities have been protecting themselves because there have been attacks on economic infrastructure in the country. The attacks have not been racial. In fact, the majority of people that have died are Black people. People in Phoenix, and I was in Phoenix today speaking to Indian people, hence I am shocked that a member of parliament, of the South African parliament, will spread this kind of lies. She should go with me to Phoenix and speak to people who are saying that this is not a racial war. This is a sabotage of the South African economy, and communities across Durban have protected themselves, whether they're Indian communities, black communities, white communities, colored communities. Nobody is being targeted except those who have sabotaged the economic infrastructure and the malls. The Indian community do not own all the malls. The malls are predominantly owned by white South Africans. And so if a community has actually suffered because of the violence, it has been the black community and the white communities. So I detest and reject with the level of disrespect that this is creating racial tension in South Africa. There is no conflict against the Indian community. And we can go into Phoenix and we can ask the people who live in Phoenix, and they can tell us that. In fact, the bodies found in Phoenix are predominantly black people. And the South African government has been intervening. The Minister of Police have been in Phoenix for 2 days, twice over 2 days, to try and intervene to stop the potential of racial conflict. And so I'm finding it despicable that the minority front would want to be.
Well, I would say this to you, Mervyn, now you are using very intemperate language. And then you ask for a decent debate. No, 1 second. I had to tell you this. No, I am sorry too, because I'm focused on the subject. I'm not making a subjective assertion of what you find despicable. We are not making comments like that. But what I am saying to you, and I hope that you will hear me, that while you call Shameen Thakur despicable, you must understand that it is also a responsibility as a parliamentarian, I presume, to express the concerns of people. And if you're going to say that even the concerns of people should not be expressed, then are we living in a democracy?
Arnab, a member of South African Parliament is lying on your television. You are allowing it. And I'm saying lying because that member of Parliament is paid.
Shameen Thakur will speak now. I want Shameen Thakur and then Agre Mutambo to come in. We hear it. Yes.
Arnab, as a member of Parliament, I understand what is the truth and what is lies. The truth is that in Parliament this week, yesterday, I debated this issue. The Minority Front was the only party that called for an emergency debate. Our Honourable Premier afforded us an executive statement. I made it very clear on the floor of Parliament about the situation of the Indian community and the fears that are running through the community because of the 1949 rights, because of the 1985, and now we have to go through the same thing. Our Premier has acknowledged that there is a problem and that we are resolving the problems. So this is not a propaganda, but I am here to tell you that our government is responding. Our president has come to the province. Our premier is on the ground. Our mayors are on the ground. There is a problem. We mustn't be in denial. I am sitting awake the entire night having to assist the people. I am on the phone with the premier, with the mayors, telling them, please send the South African police. Please send the army. The army is here, but they are protecting state assets. The people are afraid. All we're asking is get at least a few.
I don't know why you're exasperated, Rio, when you listen to the other side. I mean, I thought you would listen keenly. I thought you would listen with empathy and interest. No, but I don't think you are. Because I think you're presuming that what she's saying is wrong. I think you're being presumptuous.
Because your level of argument is that this thing is about Indians and your show is about that, and it's not true. And you've been given by different people, not me alone. But you still insist that this thing is about Indians. And it's actually quite
we will be concerned.
And it's very racial.
No, 1 second. One minute. No, your perception is completely wrong. And I think you're wrong. What I'm saying is that the Indian community is also being targeted. I'm not saying only Indians are being targeted. I also want to get a view from Nairobi, from Agre Mutambo. Agre, you're hearing both sides. You're hearing both sides. You're hearing both sides tonight. I'm sure you've seen the situation in South Africa. What's your assessment? And Professor Paswan, I'm sorry, not having come to you so far. Agree, please.
Thank you. From the view of an African African, from outside South Africa, we agree that there is a problem, and this problem is economic inequalities. Now, I have friends from Nairobi who do business.
I have a bad audio line.
Africa, and in South Africa is that of. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I lost your line in between, but yes, I think you're back. Yeah. Please continue. I agree.
Hello.
Yes, I agree. I can hear you again.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was saying that there is a problem in South Africa, as we have seen from this protest. But the problem is not racial per se. It is mostly out of economic inequalities. Now, if you go to most cities in South Africa, you will find out that the people doing businesses, the small and medium enterprises, are mostly maybe Kenyans, maybe Nigerians or Indians. These are people who have taken up the opportunities that came up as early as possible to set up businesses. Now, I do not mean to disrespect the South Africans, but the population that is doing a lot of business in South Africa is mostly people who have immigrated from other places to South Africa. Now, what this has done is, of course, it has created some opportunities for them, but it also increased sort of the gap between the rich and the poor. And South Africa generally has had a problem of wealth being accumulated in the minority white communities. And then the immigrated communities come and do business. And so they also occupy a certain level of their share of the economy. And so what this means is that the educated youth, South Africans who make the majority of the population in this country, end up being, they lag behind. And so from my view is that when this protest came up last week, that's why you see most of the malls that are owned by the white people and who have rented out space to the Indian community, the Nigerian community, and the Kenyan community doing business, the Somalis, all these people have been in this
exactly.
Protests.
Exactly, but that is
told us that their stalls have been banned. They have been looted.
No, I agree. I agree. I completely agree with you. But it is for that very reason that I say that while you are saying it's not principally racial, the fact is that you cannot target any community, for its industry or its enterprise or its hard work. And then when they are being targeted, you can't say that we won't listen to you. It happens to be a large-scale mob unrest. It's not. It's very, very targeted violence. You can argue about who's being targeted, but there is no denying that the Indian community is primarily among those who are being targeted. To be in denial of that is something I just don't understand. Professor Guru Prakash Paswan also is on the debate. Are we doing enough, Professor Paswan?
Arnabji, at the very outset, let me express solidarity, and I was patiently listening to Ma'am Shameen Thakur and Akashji, and as a member of the ruling party, as a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party who is in power at the center, let me assure fully that all the possible support will be extended to our people in South Africa at multiple levels. Let me make this very clear that Indian diplomats are already in contact with the Indian community leaders and have offered every support and assistance for the distressed families. That is one. At the senior level, External Affairs Minister Mr. Subrahmanyam Jaishankar on Thursday spoken with South African counterpart and assured him of early restoration of normalcy. Also, the High Commissioner of South Africa in New Delhi is in touch with our people. And today, like Madam Shameen Thakur also made a point that the South African president, he visited the epicenter and have assured all the support. So this is sufficiently clear that Indian government is fully in support and cooperate with our people in South Africa. They don't need to worry, but this situation is definitely worrisome. India and South Africa enjoy a very good relationship, and since the days of Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, we take inspiration from both of them. We are evolving as a responsible global power. We have an unflinching commitment to rule-based order and long-lasting peace and stability. So this is what is happening in South Africa is unacceptable, but the government of India is completely standing in solidarity with our friends like Madam Shameen Thakur and Akash.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
I'd just like to say that as much as we understand the particular dynamic around South Africa and its inhabitants, and as our other debatees want to put forth that it is maybe not a racial target. The thing that I need to understand is that you cannot say that when people are losing their lives. So we are actually put into a position where we are not barricading ourselves in and trying to protect our businesses anymore. We are protecting our families. We are protecting our homes. That is the issue. And once this kind of thing spills over into your residence, into your home, it becomes a personal attack. And that is what we are actually trying to say. The fact of the matter that we can go into a long debate as to the manner in which a protest should be held. Nobody wins when business and the economy is killed off in a country. Nobody wins. Everybody. If you want to talk about Johannesburg, for example, and where there's no Indians, in Alex itself, they were looted, they were burned, malls were gutted, razed to the ground. The very next day, there were hundreds of people waiting for food, trying to find food. The problem here is that there's an elite minority that is misleading the illiterate masses. And if we have to look at the way, for example, if you want to try to make this racial, the manner in which we have historically been able to protest, even in this country, from the times of Mahatma Gandhi, was through satyagraha. We did it against the British as well in India.
Yes.
By passive resistance. We have never got infrastructure.
I think Akash, I see that while we started the debate with complete disagreement, I find that as you spoke, both Vuyo and Dr. Ralph were agreeing with you. For me, that is the takeaway. I think we have too much in common to allow differences to come in the way. All I say, a little more empathy on both sides. And please understand, Vuyo and Dr. Ralph, we are speaking about this from a humanitarian point of view, not a racial point of view.
Exactly.
I think there is more that binds us all.
The black brothers and
of course
that we are talking about, and the Indian brothers and sisters, at one stage we're denominated as non-white.
Yeah.
We were not white either. The thing is that the reason why the Indian and the black communities are next door to each other is because we fought for freedom together in this country. We need to build this country. We cannot allow the masses to destroy the same economy that is keeping them alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thank you for your different perspectives. Gentlemen. Yes, okay, Shameen, I'm going to extend this. Yes, Shameen, you want to say something? Say it to Mervyn directly, yes.
I want to tell my black brothers on this TV screen that the one thing about the Indian community is our fear of our past history, of what has happened to us. And we want to prevent that. In Parliament, if there is anybody, and it can be proven by the records of Parliament, if there is anybody who fights for pro-poor policies, it is me and the Minority Front. I understand the pain of everyone because our forefathers came to South Africa as slaves as indentured laborers, so we know the pain of poverty.
Yeah.
And therefore, we want to lift all our people with us. We understand inequality. I want my friends to read my debates and understand that I am absolutely for poor policies. But don't hurt our communities. Let us live in peace, because our communities, if they have trust and there's trust within
I take what
we
you're
will build our country.
I think many people are being tough. Yes, Marvin. Yes, Marvin. Go on. Yes, Marvin.
Can I say that yes, there is conflict in South Africa, there is social unrest. It is true that there is fear in the Indian community, and we know the history of 1949 and 1985. It is also true that there is fear in the Black community, there is fear in the white community, there is fear in the colored community. There are fears in communities all around KwaZulu-Natal. It is not a specific community that has more fear than another community. Also, what we have seen is an attack on the economic infrastructure of South Africa, and that is rooted in some of the other politics that you started out with, the arrest of President Zuma, etc. And around that, there is a very, very complex issue. Yeah. There is deep inequality and poverty and division, and that cuts across most races.
Yeah. Marvin.
Phoenix is a very low-income area, poor people. Okay, in Phoenix. I mean, poor people in Phoenix, low-income households, but so are the informal settlement next door to them. So is Wentworth. So is many other parts of Durban. So what I'm saying is, it is not a racial attack directed at Indian community or Indian.
No, Marvin, I take your point, but as I conclude, just one small point I want to make here. Please be open to the thought that during rioting and during these instances around the world, sometimes communities are targeted via economic interests, and sometimes via economic interests, communities are targeted. So yes, it is a complex web, but I'm glad we are achieving some consensus in terms of common concern, and for me, that's the big and important takeaway. I must thank you all for joining me tonight, and I hope that we can build more bridges in this difficult time and come together. And I'm sure South Africa will come through this, and I want you to know we're not at conflict with you. We stand with you, and we hope this is going to be a matter of the past. We share too much in common. We share just too much in common. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for that debate. Thank you.